Hello, Shades Mountain and Hunter Street and First Baptist Trussville. It's Phil Barfoot here in Nashville, Music City, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to be hosting the New York Worship Project. We are so excited that all of you are praying about coming on this incredible trip. It is going to be the ministry trip of a lifetime in so many ways. From day one of the planning of this trip, God has been all over it and given us favor every single step of the way. And we're going to talk a little bit about how you can be involved in this great outreach to the Big Apple. I was so impressed when Michael Adler first called me. I remember I was in Italy when he called, wanting to take this trip, and he shared the vision of the trip with me. And I was so impressed by the fact that he made ministry and making a difference for Christ the main priorities of this trip. And the other thing that he really wanted to do is partner with other friends in the same area, in churches that could partner with Shades Mountain and just make a great impact for the glory of God in New York. So along come Dan Odell and Joe Estes, and they have absolutely been wonderful to work with, and they're partnering with us. So all three churches, all three choirs, all three ministers of music are joining together to make this an outreach that you will never forget. There are a lot of things that make this trip really unique and different and special, and I guess you could say extraordinary. Let me tell you what they are. First of all, we are being led by three of the best ministers of music in America: Michael Adler, Dan Odell, and Joe Estes. Give them a big hand. Come on. Don't you love these guys? They're among the finest in America, and we are so excited to be working with them. Number two, we are singing and ministering at the great Carnegie Hall, the world's most famous concert hall. And rarely is a group from one area selected to sing on the stage at Carnegie. Normally it's mass choirs from all across America or all across the world, but we're going to be there with just Birmingham and Trussville on that stage. So if you don't come, ain't nobody going to be on that stage, all right? So we really want you to be there because it's going to be an incredible time of ministry. So the great opportunity of having church at Carnegie Hall, I want to encourage you to think that way. I want you to sing like you're on your own stage every Sunday and minister with freedom. And when those people come there that night, a packed house, there'll be about 60% of the folks that do not know Christ, that are unbelievers, that we have the opportunity of sharing Christ with. Something else that's so exciting is we're singing and ministering at Brooklyn Tabernacle. What an awesome privilege that will be. If you've ever been to Brooklyn Tabernacle, I don't need to sell you on it. It is a life changer. I've been there over 20 times, and every single time I'm there, God does something fresh and new in my life. So you're going to love Brooklyn Tabernacle. It will change your life. We're going to do some great ministry right in Times Square. Maybe a flash mob, maybe a mini concert, and they say we'll reach between 20 and 30,000 people just in that 15-minute concert. And we are partnering with the North American Mission Board, and we're so excited about that. 2 years ago, we took the Florida Worship Choir and Orchestra on a similar trip, and when we went to each church Sunday morning, we divided up into 12 groups, and when we arrived at each church, we pulled up the undercarriage of the bus and took out sound systems and keyboards and computers, and each church had given us a list of what their needs were, and people went back to their Sunday school classes, their churches, their choirs, and raised money over the course of a year. And we were able to present those gifts to those churches that morning. So it'll be a great time of ministry that you do in the morning service, and also stay after that afternoon to maybe do some training. We will match your gifts with what those churches need, and then of course to present them with those great gifts of what they do need. We will enjoy a 72-hour hop-on, hop-off pass, all right? There are 5 different buses, double-decker buses, that travel all through New York City, and they stop at all the great venues, all right? There's an uptown, a downtown, a Bronx, a Harlem bus, and even a night tour. People love taking that night tour. And these are all narrated. You can get on and off the bus whenever you want, and They come by very frequently, about every 10 minutes. So that's going to be great. We're taking you on a dinner cruise around New York Harbor. They have a special menu they've created just for us. It's great sightseeing, going around the Statue of Liberty, and just incredible time of fellowship and excellent food, by the way. And so a lot of bells and whistles, a lot of things that make this trip really unique, really different. There's a great blend between great ministry opportunities and great sightseeing opportunities, and just partnering with local churches and making a difference for the glory of God. So we're so excited to be a part of this trip with you. This is not your normal, routine, mundane trip to New York, all right? This is an incredible trip that will change your life. On a trip like this, we go to be a blessing. We go to see lives changed, but guess who every time gets their life changed? It's like a spiritual boomerang. It comes right back on you. And many of you have been on mission trips and know exactly what I'm talking about. But we're excited about that. As you know, New York is considered the crossroads of the world, in that every day people fly in there and converge in New York from literally all around the world. And they say in Carnegie Hall alone, we will minister to people from over 150 different countries. So instead of us going to all those countries, they are coming to us, and we have the privilege of ministering to them. And we're excited about that. There's 3 goals to this trip that we've talked about with the ministers of music. Number 1, to make a huge difference for Jesus in the Big Apple. Can I get an amen? All right. I think we all agree with that. Number 2, for this to be the trip of a lifetime for each and every one of you. And number 3, for every person who feels called to go on this trip, we want you to go. All right. God will make a way. Every week we get phone calls and emails and snail mail from people who signed up for a trip and didn't have any idea how they'd pay for it, but by faith they knew God was leading them to go on the trip, sign up for the trip, and they share these great testimonies of how God provided. One lady a couple weeks ago wrote in, and she talked about the fact she didn't think she had any great talent. She made minimum wage, but she really felt called to go on the New York trip. And her friends reminded her she was a good cook. So she had the idea of making a dinner for her Sunday school class. She had 20 people over, elegant tablecloth, incredible meal. And she just mentioned that I'm going on this mission trip, and if you can help me, fine. If not, I hope you enjoyed the meal. And she made enough that night for 3 people to go. So she took 2 friends on the trip with her. So allow God to really help you to, for Him to make a way for you, and use your talents to do so. So we're pretty excited about how God will provide a way for you. 6 weeks before the trip, we'll come to Birmingham and do a big orientation with all of you. And you'll get a 30-page booklet with everything you ever wanted to know about the trip, including some things maybe you didn't want to know about the trip. And if you know anything about our company, Celebration Concert Tours, the concept is really simple, all right? We do all the work, and you have all the fun. How about that? Sounds like a plan, right? Our job is to make sure you have the trip of a lifetime. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Every question you have is important. No such thing as a small need. Every need you share with us is a big need to us, all right? So we want to be there for you, help you any way we can. Let me warn you, you will be hugged a lot. Our staff are all huggers and encouragers, and they want to help you and assist you and make it a great trip that you will remember for a long time. Now, on a trip like this, all 3 ministers of music will tell you it's crucial that we have close to 100% participation. For us to really accomplish the things that God is giving us to do, we really need you on this trip. This is a trip you don't want to miss and then hear about the rest of your life, all right? When you're sitting in the rest home in 20 years, or 5 years for some of us, you'll still be hearing about the trip you missed back in 2018. So you don't want to be one of those people. But I believe with all my heart, when God calls you to do something, He will make a way. Do I hear an amen? All right. So let's take a quick look at the itinerary. All right. We all fly into the Big Apple on Friday, June 15th. You will be welcomed at the airport by your Celebration Concert Tour staff. You'll get a big hug, and we will put you on beautiful buses and whisk you to the Crowne Plaza Hotel in Times Square. That is the flagship hotel for the Crowne Plaza brand, and we've put up about 6,000 people there over the last 6 years and never, ever been disappointed. It is a great hotel. You get your 72-hour hop-on, hop-off pass then, and then that evening is free for you to just go and see a Broadway show, a Broadway musical, have a great dinner, and just have some great time with your friends. And we invite you to, and really encourage you to find some new friends in those other churches. Since you all live together and we're going to heaven together, you might as well have a great time in New York together. You know what I mean? Saturday morning, we will have breakfast in Times Square, and then your morning is free, and then we put you on buses and take you to Carnegie Hall for the dress rehearsal that afternoon, dinner break, and then great time of ministry at Carnegie Hall, 8 p.m. on Saturday, June 16th. On Sunday, after breakfast, we'll divide you up into smaller groups and send you out to these local churches, the North American Mission Board churches. A lot of them are brand new churches or relatively new, and that we can encourage them and minister in the morning services, have lunch with them, and then do some training right after lunch. And then late afternoon, we're going to do a flash mob in Times Square, or maybe a mini concert in Times Square. And again, your evening is free. Go ahead and thank me. Oh, you're welcome. All right. On Monday after breakfast, it will be a ministry day, working with ministry partners. Some of you might have the day off or would like to take the day off, but a lot of us will be working with local ministries that day and maybe finishing up some work we started earlier in the week. On Tuesday, after breakfast, you have your free morning for sightseeing. Mid-afternoon, we hop on the buses and do an early dinner cruise, and right from there we go to the Great Brooklyn Tabernacle for their famous Tuesday night prayer service. It is an amazing time that you will participate in, and then we'll have the opportunity of ministering later in the service. Your life will be changed, let me warn you, all right? On Wednesday, sad to say, we check out of the hotel and catch our flights back home. On the What's Included page, that's all self-explanatory, I think. One thing that makes this trip unique is that we all share in the rental cost of Carnegie Hall. So when we go in, the bill's totally paid. So we can have the proceeds go to local church ministries and to be able to bless the ministries there in New York. Probably a lot of the NAM churches, NAMB churches will receive some of those funds, and we want to bless them. And because all of us helped pay for Carnegie Hall, we can do that, all right? One thing we do not include is airfare, and that's because our goal is to get the lowest rock bottom airfare for you. If we had to guess now, we'd have to overshoot it. But we will get the absolute rock bottom airfare for you. And if it's a group fare, we'll book it out of our office. If it's individual fares, sometimes we found individual fares are cheaper. We will both give you the instructions on how to do it, or you can call our office and we will book it for you. To register, you just go to the New York Worship Project 2018 on our website. Our website is celebrationconcerttours.com. That's on the Getting Started page. It's actually very easy. You just go to our website, celebrationconcerttours.com, and then New York Worship Project 2018, and then follow the prompts from there. It's much easier than this page looks like, all right? Now, I have some good news and some good news and some good news for you. What do you want to hear first? Oh, okay, the good news. Great. All right, you can save $200. Give me a big wow. $200 if you register on our website and pay the $300 deposit by February 22nd. All right? I believe that's in 2 weeks. All right, you have 2 weeks to pay the $300 deposit. Register online. You've saved yourself $200. You just use that code there, NWYP200, no spaces. If you're pretty rich and you only need to save $150, then you wait till March 1st. If you're filthy rich, you only want to save $100, you wait till March 8th, all right, and use that third discount code there. That's the first piece of good news. Second piece, this trip costs you $3.65 a day, all right? So if you just come home every day from work and just put your coins in a jar, you have paid your way to New York, all right? So the reason we announced the trip so far in advance is so that you can afford it. So even if you make minimum wage, you can try to put that money away, and you will be able to come on the trip because you have budgeted all along the way. And the third piece of good news is we're going to do a drawing, all right? For $500, $400, $300, $250, $200, $150, and $100, all right? Now, all three churches are showing this video tonight, all right? So we want to put a little competition between the churches to see how many of you are going to sign up tonight. And again, this registrant information sheet does not sign you up for the tour. It does not sign you up for the tour, but it does tell your music pastor that you're seriously praying about coming on this trip. All right? So we want you to put your printed name, signature, phone number, and email. And this is a no-lose situation because this does not commit you to the trip in any way, shape, or form. But it does put you in the drawing. All right? You cannot win anything in the drawing unless you fill this out. All right? So you don't have to fold it or anything. Just put your name, your signature, your phone, and your email. And if your spouse is coming, about 25% of the people who come on these trips are family, friends, and spouses. So definitely non-singers, non-players are more than welcome. The orchestra, absolutely welcome. We want that stage full of singers and instrumentalists praising God from our socks on up. It's going to be amazing. So fill out a form for your spouse if they're planning on coming. And we're going to do the drawing in a few minutes. You trust your minister of music, right? Would you buy a used car from him? Well, maybe not. But anyway, they're going to do the drawing, all right? So turn these in. Turn these in right away. And again, you can save $200 if you register by February 22nd. And if you save up $3.65 a day, you've paid for the trip. And then we want you to turn these sheets in now for the drawing, all right? So we are so excited about this and can't wait to see you in the Big Apple. We'll come about 6 weeks early to Birmingham and do a big orientation with all of you together. You're going to rehearse together and just have some great, great times of fellowship. And it will be a life changer for all of us. And we're so excited to work with Michael, Dan, and Joe. These are some great guys, and follow their leadership all the way to New York City. So God bless you. See you in the Big Apple.